Day 711 data comes here, challenge to learn. I'm learning. I hope this will support your dreams, your goals, allow you to become the person that you want to become. Today we speak about boundaries in family, specifically in unhealthy boundaries. Because yesterday I shared about 10 boundaries that are healthy in family. Today we'll share 10 boundaries that is unhealthy in family. And of course, boundaries is a very, very important topic because, of course, only healthy boundaries allow us to understand how we're supposed to treat each other. Because without knowing what other person likes, what doesn't like, what is right, what is not right, what is based on values, what is not, we're not able to really live a pretty decent life because we need to have some kind of rules, some kind of guidelines, and boundaries are the guidelines to live life by. So today we'll share 10 things that we need to be careful and not allow in our lives, because the more we allow bad boundaries or unhealthy boundaries in our lives, the more we are feeling that something is off in our lives. And healthy boundaries allowing us to really live a meaningful life, including in it with yourself. There is self boundaries that you put just to yourself, and there is family boundaries, and of course even more boundaries that you're able to extend to other people. So number one unhealthy boundary in family is intrusiveness. That means people really want to include themselves into other people's lives. That is unhealthy boundary. We need to make sure that every single person has some privacy, have some ability to really be able to control their own life. No one else needs to control their life, just themselves. Number two is a lack of privacy. So that means that we don't want other people to include themselves in all decision-making process, but at the same time, we do not want other family members to be really disregarding your privacy. Maybe you have your room, maybe you have your phone, maybe you have some specific information that you want to keep your personal, and everyone deserves to have some private information that doesn't need to be explored by other family members. So lack of privacy is one of the ability to see that someone is not following the healthy boundaries. And lack of privacy is a healthy boundary. Number three is emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation. So that means that unhealthy boundaries creates emotional manipulation because other people want to get something out of you, and because they want to get something out of you, they will create some guilt, some other ways to really make sure that they're able to manipulate to get out of you something that they want. It could be something that they want you to want. A lot of times it's a lot of different manipulations, but we never know. But boundaries, when there is no boundaries and unhealthy boundaries, that show up. Number four is over-dependence. So that means that it could be from both sides. That means that a lot of times a person who really doesn't take too much ownership and doesn't take too much responsibility for themselves, they could be over-dependent to somebody else. And of course, it's unhealthy boundaries because a person who sees that someone that is potentially who is very, very dependent, and you allow that other person to be dependent, they will create that over-dependence. So healthy boundaries allow us to create those that this is your ownership, this is your responsibility, and this is your life. This is what you need to do. So that means, of course, we understand that we want to support, we want to encourage, but really depending only on one person is not the right path. Number five is avoidance of conflict. That means that if a family member is avoiding conflict, that means there is no boundaries at all, because we want to deal with conflicts. That means we are a family unit. We need to deal with conflicts, and if it's unhealthy boundaries, that means that everyone is okay. If I don't want to speak about it, if I don't want to deal with it, I will walk away. No, needs to be boundaries how you deal with and specific rules with conflict. And we have those boundaries around conflict. You know how it will look like. There is no arguing anymore because you know exactly what you do. So boundaries are very, very essential with that. Number six is coercion. So that means that a lot of times people will do some additional physical or any kind of push to make you do something that you do not want. A lot of different ways that people are doing and trying to influence decisions. And of course, coercion is terrible thing to really, and a lot of times show that there is no boundaries. If someone is trying to influence in a negative way to do something that you don't want, of course, other people, family members want to use coercion, but is no. That means that we need to always create boundaries that if I made a decision, that means you need to leave me alone. Or like that means this is my life. I'm able to create my own decisions, and you're not able to use any kind of punishment or anything, blame, guilt, anything. As part of manipulation and any kind of physical push towards really changing your mind. Number 7 is lack of communication. Again, it's unhealthy communication. The lack of communication is unhealthy boundaries. That means if there is lack of communication in a family, that means there is never a boundary. What is communication? How we communicate with each other, and like create those rules around communication. How we communicate, because if there is lack of communication, that means that you allowed it, that our family unit allowed to create that lack of communication is okay. Lack of communication is allowed it. No, like if you create boundaries, and that's exactly how we communicate, it's easy to follow the rules. Number 8 is lack of respect to autonomy. A lack of respect to autonomy. That means that other people want to make decisions for you, and they don't trust your decisions or other people's decision. So it means every single person deserves to have autonomy of their lives. They're able to make decisions and live by those decisions, even though those decisions might be wrong. They have full autonomy to make those mistakes and learn from those mistakes and get better because of those mistakes. That means that you're able to suggest, support, and be there for them when they will make a mistake, when they will fail, to come back and really recover and get that encouragement. Because sometimes the best thing that person could do is make mistake, learn, get improved, get stronger. So lack of respect for autonomy is terrible, unhealthy boundary to have in family. Number 9 is break of trust or breach of trust. So that means that a lot of times people who doesn't have boundaries in the family breach those trust. Maybe they say information that they're not supposed to say to other people, and that means that you didn't boundaries about what you're able to share with other people. Maybe you didn't create boundaries around helping each other, and one person said that they will do something, but they didn't do. So that means breach of trust could come from a lot of different areas. But again, this is a boundaries in family. Again, what is accepted in sharing information, private information about each other, maybe doing something that they said they will do, or what you will do to each other. Like there are a lot of different ways that you're able to really destroy trust, even borrow the money and never giving it back. So creating boundaries around that is very, very important to keep family very, very strong. And last one, number 10, is enabling destructive behavior. Enabling destructive behavior. And that means that if there's no boundaries, healthy boundaries, always potentially there is a high chance to enable someone else to really have those destructive behaviors. Because when you have some boundaries around about behaviors that you do not want to have in family, that are really forbidden in a family, a lot of times people enable destructive behavior. And they accept and don't deny those. And they deny that, or they don't accept or minimize those destructive behaviors. And when you have boundaries, it's so much easier to really allow someone to get out of their bad behaviors, because you know that you have those strong boundaries that you create as a family unit. That's why it's very important that you're not able to create boundaries for the family by yourself. That means that every single member needs to add to create those boundaries. Now you're able to create healthy boundaries for yourself that your family needs to follow, but you're not able to create boundaries that every single family member needs to follow. So boundaries is personal and family, and every single family need to discuss, and you need to share your personal boundaries and why those boundaries are important for you. And of course, we need to discuss as a family what are boundaries in our family. Because if we do not discuss boundaries as a topic in general, I think a lot of times people do not follow our rules, that we have expectations, because we have a lot of expectations how what other people are supposed to do for us or because of us or anything in between. And because those people or our family members do not follow those expectations that we have in our mind, we get disappointed. But people are not mind readers. We do not know what other people think. So that means we need to be communicative and we need to share those boundaries. And if a person is less communicative, we need to really help and ask those questions. What you want to do, what you don't want to do, what are your boundaries? And really, if you are very good in communication, help somebody to communicate what they want, what they don't want. Because I could tell you, I was struggling for a long time in communication to share exactly my feelings, emotions, and exactly what I want, what I don't want. So I need to grow into that. So knowing that there's a lot of people who are struggling with communication, if you know that you are a little bit better with communication and you're more aware about boundaries and in the importance of it, be that person who really said that, would you love to have that conversation about boundaries and how we're supposed to communicate with each other, that we do not have unhealthy boundaries, because awareness is the first step to really make family better and it really take those unhealthy boundaries out of the family altogether and build those healthy boundaries that could really allow that family to strive. So I know there is a lot of more topics to discuss. Boundaries is a big topic. I could not say that as I said, probably just a scratch what we need to learn about boundaries. But it's good that we're able to discuss and really think about it. What are the boundaries and what are the important boundaries for you, for the family, and really to make your family get stronger. So I hope you choose to win and see you tomorrow.